Ladies and gentlemen, life has a way of testing us when we least expect it. Sometimes that test comes in the form of humiliation, a cutting remark, a public embarrassment, a moment designed to strip away your confidence. It's in those moments when the spotlight of judgment is blinding that your response defines your strength. What do you do when someone humiliates you in front of everyone? Do you lash out, shrink into the shadows, or do you rise above it? Let me tell you this. Humiliation is not the end. It's an opportunity to showcase the power within you. When faced with humiliation, the immediate reaction for most people is to strike back or retreat. It's human nature to feel the sting and want to defend ourselves or escape the discomfort. However, reacting impulsively in the heat of the moment often leads to regret. When someone humiliates you, the most powerful thing you can do is pause. Pausing doesn't mean ignoring or suppressing the emotions you feel. It means taking a moment to acknowledge what's happening, breathe, and create space between the incident and your response. The pause is where your power lies. Think of it as stepping out of the emotional tornado that humiliation creates. When someone insults or embarrasses you publicly, their goal is often to provoke a reaction. They want to control the narrative, to put you on the defensive, or to fuel their own ego at your expense. But by pausing, you refuse to give them that power. You take control of the situation by not allowing their actions to dictate your immediate behavior. In that moment of pause, emotions may surge. Anger, sadness, frustration, or even shame might bubble up inside you. That's okay. Those emotions are valid and natural. But pausing allows you to feel them without being consumed by them. It's like holding a burning match in your hand. If you act out of reflex, you might throw it and create a bigger fire. If you pause, you can calmly extinguish it before it causes damage. That brief moment of stillness lets you process what's happening without reacting impulsively. Pausing also gives you the chance to observe the situation objectively. What was said? Why was it said? Was there malicious intent, or was it an unintentional comment? Is this person trying to provoke you, or are they projecting their own insecurities? When you pause, you give yourself the gift of clarity. Instead of letting emotions cloud your judgment, you approach the situation with a more balanced perspective. This clarity allows you to determine the best course of action, whether it's addressing the comment calmly, choosing to disengage, or simply walking away with your dignity intact. In a society that often equates speed with strength, pausing can feel counterintuitive. There's a sense of urgency to respond, to defend yourself, to prove something in the moment. But the truth is, strength isn't about quick reactions. It's about thoughtful responses. Pausing demonstrates maturity and emotional intelligence. It shows that you are in control of yourself even when someone else tries to provoke chaos. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. Pausing isn't just about the immediate moment. It's about setting the tone for how you handle challenges in life. If you practice the discipline of pausing, you'll find that you're better equipped to navigate all kinds of difficult situations, not just moments of humiliation. It becomes a habit of resilience, a tool that empowers you to face adversity with composure and grace. Pausing is not about letting someone get away with their actions. It's about choosing how you show up in the face of adversity. It's about proving to yourself and to others that you are grounded, composed, and strong. By pausing, you reclaim control and lay the foundation for a thoughtful, measured response that reflects your inner strength and integrity. When someone humiliates you, the initial instinct is often to internalize the attack, to feel hurt, angry, or even question your own worth. But what if instead of letting those emotions take over, you shifted your focus? Shifting your focus to understanding is not about justifying the other person's behavior or excusing what they've done. It's about stepping back, looking beyond the surface of the situation, and seeking to understand the motivations, dynamics, and context behind their actions. This shift can transform a painful experience into a moment of insight and growth. People who humiliate others often act out of their own insecurities, fears, or unresolved emotions. Their behavior says far more about them than it does about you. Maybe they're trying to gain a sense of control or power in an environment where they feel powerless. Maybe they're projecting their own self-doubt onto you because they see something in you that they lack. Or perhaps they are simply unaware of the impact of their words and actions. By shifting your focus to understanding, you take the spotlight off yourself and place it on the bigger picture. This shift allows you to see that their attempt to humiliate you might not even be about you at all. In moments of humiliation, the natural tendency is to personalize the attack, but understanding helps you depersonalize it. Instead of thinking, why did they do this to me? You start to ask, what's going on with them that made them act this way? That subtle change in perspective can be empowering. It reframes the experience and reduces its emotional grip on you. When you understand that their actions stem from their own struggles, it becomes easier to resist internalizing their words or actions as a reflection of your value. Understanding also fosters emotional distance, which is crucial in navigating challenging interactions. When you focus on understanding, you create a mental buffer between their behavior and your emotional response. This doesn't mean you condone or accept their behavior, but it allows you to respond from a place of composure rather than from a place of pain or anger. Understanding doesn't weaken you. It strengthens your ability to remain calm and deliberate in the face of provocation. Seeking to understand opens the door to compassion, even in difficult situations. Compassion doesn't mean you have to like the person or tolerate their behavior. It simply means acknowledging that they, like everyone else, are dealing with their own internal struggles. This perspective can help you let go of resentment or bitterness and focus on what truly matters, your own well-being and how you choose to handle the situation. Understanding also puts you in a position of strength. It allows you to navigate the situation with clarity and purpose rather than getting caught up in reactive emotions. By shifting your focus to understanding, you reclaim your power. You stop allowing their actions to define your emotional state and instead approach the situation with wisdom and poise. This shift not only helps you handle the moment, but also contributes to your overall growth and resilience in the face of adversity. When someone humiliates you, their words or actions can feel like sharp arrows aimed directly at your sense of self. In those moments, it's easy to let the sting of their behavior define how you see yourself. But the truth is, no one has the power to dictate your worth unless you give it to them. Choosing self-worth over their words is about recognizing that your value isn't determined by someone else's opinions, insults, or attempts to bring you down. It's determined by the belief you hold about yourself. Self-worth begins with an inner knowing, a conviction that who you are is enough, regardless of what others say or do. When you anchor yourself in this belief, you build a shield against the hurtful words of others. Their comments may graze you, but they won't penetrate deeply because your sense of self isn't tied to external validation. It's rooted within you, in the knowledge that you are valuable, deserving of respect, and whole, no matter how others try to frame you. It's important to understand that humiliation is often a reflection of the person who delivers it, not the one who receives it. People who seek to belittle others often do so from a place of insecurity or a need to assert control. Their words are not about you, they're about them. Recognizing this can help you detach from their comments and refuse to let them shape how you feel about yourself. You are not their opinion. You are not their insult. You are far more than their attempt to diminish you. Choosing self-worth over their words also requires mindfulness. When someone humiliates you, it's natural to replay their words in your mind, allowing them to echo and amplify your doubts. But you have a choice in that moment, to feed those thoughts or to redirect them. Instead of letting their words take root, challenge them. Ask yourself, is what they said true? Does it align with who I know I am? More often than not, you'll find that their words are baseless, designed to wound rather than reflect reality. Reaffirm your own truth instead of accepting theirs. Building and maintaining self-worth involves cultivating practices that remind you of your inherent value. Surround yourself with people who uplift and support you, not those who tear you down. Take time to acknowledge your strengths, achievements, and qualities that make you unique. By regularly reinforcing your sense of self-worth, you create a foundation so solid that no amount of humiliation can shake it. It's also essential to set boundaries when someone tries to diminish you. Standing up for yourself doesn't mean reacting aggressively. It means asserting your worth calmly and confidently. You can choose to address their behavior or simply walk away, but either way, your response is a declaration that their words do not define you. Choosing self-worth over their words is an act of empowerment. It's a decision to prioritize your inner strength over external negativity. It's a reminder that your value isn't up for debate, and no one can take away what you've built within yourself. And number two, it's not about avoiding or awakening the present moment. It's re-engaging with the present so you can face the future, be prepared, and be ready. When confronted with humiliation, the way you respond has the power to shift the entire dynamic of the situation. While the natural reaction might be to lash out in anger, retreat in embarrassment, or let emotions take control, the most impactful response is one rooted in grace and strength. Responding with grace doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect or diminish your own feelings. It means handling the situation with composure, dignity, and a clear sense of self. Pairing grace with strength allows you to assert yourself firmly without descending to the same level as the person trying to humiliate you. Grace begins with restraint. When someone publicly tries to humiliate you, they're often seeking a reaction. They want to see you flustered, defensive, or visibly hurt. By refusing to give them the reaction they're looking for, you disrupt their intention. Instead of feeding into their negativity, you remain calm and composed, sending a message that you are not easily shaken. Grace is about choosing to rise above the provocation, demonstrating emotional maturity and self-control. Strength, on the other hand, is about standing your ground. It's about responding in a way that asserts your boundaries and conveys self-respect without resorting to aggression or retaliation. Strength doesn't mean dominating the other person. It means showing that you will not be diminished by their actions. This might involve addressing their behavior calmly and assertively, saying something like, "I don't appreciate being spoken to that way," or "I prefer to continue this conversation with respect." It's about using your voice to set the tone for how you expect to be treated. When you respond with grace and strength, you also take control of the narrative. Instead of allowing the person humiliating you to define the situation, you redefine it through your actions. Your composure and poise become the focus, not their attempt to belittle you. This shift not only diffuses the immediate tension, but also leaves a lasting impression on those witnessing the interaction. People are far more likely to respect someone who handles adversity with dignity than someone who reacts impulsively. A response rooted in grace and strength also involves empathy, not for the purpose of excusing bad behavior, but to maintain perspective. Recognizing that the other person's actions often stem from their own insecurities or struggles helps you detach emotionally from their words. This detachment prevents you from internalizing the humiliation and allows you to approach the situation from a place of clarity and confidence. It's also important to remember that responding with grace and strength doesn't always require words. Sometimes the most powerful response is silence. Silence can speak volumes, signaling that you refuse to engage in negativity. Pairing silence with a steady gaze or a calm demeanor can disarm the other person and demonstrate that their attempt to humiliate you has no power over you. Responding with grace and strength is about reclaiming your power. It's about choosing a response that reflects your character, not theirs. You're not just managing the situation in the moment, you're also reinforcing your own sense of self-worth and setting a standard for how you expect to be treated moving forward. Moments of humiliation are often some of the most uncomfortable and painful experiences we face. However, hidden within that discomfort lies an opportunity for growth. It may not feel like it at first. Being humiliated can stir up feelings of anger, embarrassment, or even self-doubt. But when you choose to use the experience as a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block, you transform it into something valuable. Growth doesn't come from avoiding difficulty. It comes from facing it, learning from it, and emerging stronger. Every moment of humiliation is a mirror reflecting areas where you can build resilience. When someone attempts to humiliate you, it often exposes vulnerabilities you may not have been aware of. These moments can serve as signals to examine your emotional triggers. Ask yourself why their words or actions affected you so deeply. Was it because they touched on an insecurity you've been carrying? Was it because you felt powerless in the situation? These are questions that, while uncomfortable, can lead to profound self-awareness. By identifying the root of your reaction, you gain clarity about yourself and the areas where you can grow. And humiliation also teaches you about the power of perspective. In the immediate aftermath of such an experience, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, as though the moment defines you. But with time and reflection, you begin to see it as just that, a moment. It's a temporary experience, not a permanent marker of your worth. Shifting your perspective allows you to detach from the emotions of the event and see it as an opportunity to develop strength, patience, and understanding. Growth comes when you stop seeing humiliation as something done to you and start seeing it as something that can work for you. In these moments, you also learn the value of self-compassion. It's easy to be hard on yourself when you feel embarrassed or hurt. You might replay the incident in your mind, thinking of what you should have said or done differently. But growth requires kindness toward yourself. It means recognizing that everyone faces moments of humiliation and that these experiences don't diminish who you are. By treating yourself with compassion, you create a safe internal space to process the event, learn from it, and move forward. Using humiliation as a tool for growth also involves taking actionable steps. Reflect on how you handled the situation and consider how you might respond differently in the future. Maybe you'll work on asserting your boundaries more confidently, or perhaps you'll practice staying calm under pressure. Each experience offers lessons that, if applied, help you evolve into a stronger, more self-assured version of yourself. Finally, moments of humiliation remind you of your ability to overcome. When you've experienced the sting of public embarrassment and survived, you realize just how resilient you are. The fear of future humiliation begins to lose its grip because you've already faced it and come out the other side. This realization empowers you, giving you the courage to face challenges with greater confidence and less fear, to create a massive self-image. Growth is the ultimate response to adversity, and choosing to grow transforms humiliation into a source of strength.